One of the biggest lies I've been told in the realm of fitness is that if you're not in pain, sore, or hurting, then you're doing something wrong and you're not working hard enough. While with training and stuff, you're going to get sore. There's going to be days where it's going to be harder than others. If you're in constant pain, there's a problem with your recovery. Now, I'm currently training for longevity, mobility, functional training, as well as strongman. Now, if you're watching this, regardless if you're doing strongman training or just regular training for just gym bros or bodybuilding, whatever you're doing, maximizing recovery is one of the most underrated things ever, because it's not just about what you do in the gym, it's the hours between it. It's the time you're spent sleeping, the things that you're doing in between those sessions that actually make it matter. So if you're in pain in between every single session and you're not understanding why, or you want to figure out how can I feel better between my sessions, then this is for you. Now, if you go into a workout and you're still sore from yesterday and you pushed yourself super hard yesterday and you expect yourself to put your 100% and your all into this workout today, you're wrong. And even if you go into the workout with that feeling, by the time you're done with your first 2 sets, you're going to be fatigued, tired, etc. So, to maximize recovery, the first thing that we're going to talk about is sleep. I'm sure you've heard this one before. You're rolling your eyes, but genuinely, sleep is the charger. It's literally your body getting back its energy. You need to sleep. And for, depending each person, your work schedule, regardless, we all have the same 24 hours, and 7 to 10 hours of those you need to be sleeping. And I'm not just talking about regular sleep, or if you're someone with sleep problems, quality sleep. That is the priority, quality sleep. So there's different ways that you can get quality sleep that'll help with your recovery. The first thing I've been implementing is on my phone, I turned off the blue light exposure where it's in grayscale, and also the blue light is not as adamant because there's like a red tint to it almost. My dad has these glasses that are orange that block the blue light exactly. I'm sure you can get them for like $10 on Amazon, but just that helps with your circadian rhythm. It's going to help with melatonin production, and actually going on your screens right before bed blocks the production of melatonin, which is the main source, or is it like a hormone? I'm not a doctor. That makes your sleep. Sorry about that cut. My phone just ran out of storage again. And I'm going to just go back into what I was saying real quick. I just want to add that when you're doing something that is a calling in your life, there's going to be circumstances that is going to be resistance. There's going to be things that come up that tell you not to do it. There's going to be things that happen that make it inconvenient. When you're doing something that you're called to do, the devil, resistance, is going to find ways to interfere with that. So here I am setting up this camera, and now we're going to go back into what we were talking about. So yeah, sleep, maximize that. Sleep in a dark room. My room is pitch black. Sometimes the moon will pour in. I have myself a little eye shade that helps me with that. But overall, I like to sleep in a cold room. I know my parents' electric bill does not like that, sorry. But regardless, that's what has helped me sleep and overall maximize recovery while I'm slumbering. So next up, we're going to talk about calories and protein. So everybody knows, at least I hope you know if you're watching this, about calories and protein. 2 very, very important things. And of course, calories or protein is derived of calories, and each macronutrient has a different density of calories, but protein for muscle recovery is the most important. The protein that when you're working out and your muscles, the fibers are tearing, the proteins go there, rebuild it, make it stronger, etc. 0.8 gram to 1 gram per pound of body weight. If you're like 400 pounds and your like goal weight is like 200, I'd say closer to your goal body weight. Now, if you're like me, 140, I'd say just go for your body weight right now. And if you're, regardless of if you're in a calorie deficit or not, aiming for that, or at least roughly around that area, give or take, that is going to be the best number there to maximize recovery and get your muscles stronger. So, and going back into what I was saying about calorie deficit, I have tried a lot of different approaches to calorie deficits. I've gone extreme cutting. Freshman year, yeah, ED Twitter. Don't want to talk about that. That was, of course I lost fat while starving myself, but I lost all my muscle. I looked like a bag of milk, And you don't want to do that. You need to be, if you're in a calorie deficit and you're looking to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, which I think can be done given the right circumstances, you need to be eating in a slight calorie deficit. Right now, I'm at about 300 to 400. Because I expend so much energy throughout the day at my job, I'm always on my feet, I'm working out sometimes twice a day. I expend a lot of energy, close to 2,500 calories. So I aim for about 2,000 calories. Some days I'll eat more or less. I just don't have the appetite sometimes. But staying around the realm where I can be close to about 300 to 400 calorie deficit, especially because I'm expending a lot of energy right now, it makes it pretty easy. And with that, you have tons of wiggle room to fit in the things that you need to eat to get your protein in. And that gives you like I said, the wiggle room to be able to not only have the protein that you can get in a day, because if you're eating 1,200 calories a day, you're not getting 150 grams of protein, unless you're just eating egg whites by the jug. I'm sure you can figure out a way, but you're going to be miserable. And just protein with no fiber, no fat, no carbs, you're going to be depleted, you're going to be tired, and that's not what recovery is good for. So, calories and protein, that's what I have to say about that. And now we're going to talk about managing fatigue. So I'm in America, everybody's workaholics, everybody's go, 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 and that's kind of just the culture that we live in. And sometimes people see that kind of as like a status symbol of, oh, I'm so tired, I'm just working so much, like I have so much stress. When did stress become a status symbol? Because first of all, stress in your brain, your body is what's going on in your brain. If you're not in the right mental space, that's going to show up in your skin. That's going to show up in your attitude. That's going to show up in your body. When you're not thinking right, you're not going to train properly. You're not going to eat properly. So managing the fatigue and the stress, I think stress is a better word compared to fatigue, but fatigue, I guess, can be a derivative of stress. Cortisol. Everybody knows cortisol. That's the stress hormone. When you're doing really stressful workouts or you have something really crazy going on in your life, you're expending that hormone. So what I'd say right now, of course, I'm strongman training. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of grit to put a lot of energy into that. But if you're just someone looking for functional strength, so when they're retired, they're able to live out their retired years without being in pain, not super high impact or cortisol inducing exercise is going to be so much better for your recovery overall. Rather than after your 90-minute workout going for a 30-minute like sprint, like hard run. I'm not a runner. I don't know if you could tell. I don't run. But I have run. And it leaves me personally, I'm not saying on your account, but from what I've heard, from what I've learned, and from what I've learned online, while running is great, and I think that people should do it to an extent, when you're looking to have better joints, when you're not looking to be super fatigued after working out and tired and hungry, I'd stick to lower impact cardio. So being incline walking, even Stairmaster on I think I'm like level 6 for 20 minutes, get the heart pumping. It's so important to get your heart pumping, but not to compromise your joints and your overall recovery. Don't overtrain. That's pretty much the point I'm getting across. If you want to run, be my guest, but don't overtrain, because at the end of the day, if you're a car and you're go, and you don't stop to fill up the gas, you don't stop to cool down the motor, you're going to burn out, you're going to break down, and that's going to be a big old mess, and we don't want to do that. So, and another thing that in the realm of minimizing stress and fatigue is to take out the energy takers from your life. So, be it there's some people that don't exactly have your best interest in mind, there's some habits that you got to put down, etc. Example, scrolling, smoking, drinking. I'm a victim, not a victim. I am a culprit, and I am a person who has done all those things. I'm trying to sound fancy with my words, but I'm not a victim. I've done all these things before, and while yes, they feel great in the moment, I love to go on my phone after a long day, I find that not only, of course, in my sleep, it compromises that, my overall focus and dopamine receptors are fried. They're fried. And that's why it's hard to sit down and talk about things that I know I want to talk about. So doing things that are replacing energy takers to energy givers, not only just your overall well-being is it gonna help, it's of course gonna help with your recovery with working out. So energy taker, scrolling, energy giver, reading. And that's like one easy one right there. Energy taker, binge eating out of emotion. Energy giver, sitting down with a cup of tea and journaling. You don't ever get rid of to an extent, yes, but you don't even understand what's going on in my head. Sorry. You don't ever actually get rid of anxiety completely. You just deal with it differently in ways that minimizes it. I naturally, just the way I've always been super high energy, and because of that, I can mismatch the feeling of excitement with nervousness, and it just causes anxiety inside of me. And that's something that I'm working on, of course. But while that hasn't changed, while it's gotten better, while I still have that response to events in my life, I've just found different ways to deal with them that maximize recovery, that maximize my overall well-being. So you don't ever stop having a habit, you just replace the habit with a better one, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, if you're sniffing what I'm shitting. So we're just gonna move on from that part. I feel like I've talked about that too much. Active recovery. Numero cuatro. Active recovery. So rest days, important. I think the whole premise of this video is you need to be resting and recovering. So active rest days, or just active recovery on days that you're not moving as much. Stretching. 100% stretching. You know, your muscles, I'm a stretch practitioner. I do practitioner assisted stretching, so I'm stretching people, of course. What isn't talked about enough is fascia. So the connective tissue, you can say, between like your muscles and your bones there. So when you're not stretching, those, you know, they're like lined up. It gets all tangled. And when you're not stretching, that can be irreversible over time. It goes from something that's strong to like a crumpled up goo, you know, and it's much harder to stretch that out, and it can lead to long-term tightness. So I just like to wake up. I like to just do, like, I call it yoga salutations, you know, just butterfly up, butterfly down, do a couple of twists. I do my hamstrings, of course, calves, ankles. I have ankle problems, so working on that. And your posture. I'm learning about that right now in Chick Academy. I found that with my legs, actually, of course your legs are tied to your posture, but my right foot turns outward. And when I'm sleeping, you know how you sleep, your feet are like this? My feet are like this. They just turn outwards like a duck. And I found, okay, that's just like a cool habit. I walk like a duck, so that's fine. But that's compromising a lot in my hips, because your feet, you know, if they're faced outward, your hips, they're gonna turn your pelvis, that's, you know, holding everything together. It's becoming imbalanced, so my spine is turning this way and my head's going forward, and I'm just gonna look like a gamer. Like, no offense to all the gamers out there, but your feet, when active recovery, if you're walking and stretching and stuff, focus on your feet. I find that when I'm walking on the treadmill, I lean towards turning my right foot outwards while this one, so I'm walking like this. I force myself to bring my feet this way, because I know that if I'm walking and I keep practicing, make it a habit to turn this toe in, so it's over time. Oh, my nails look good. I need to redo them though. That overall, if my back and posture is balanced, then my recovery is better. And it's only been like 2 weeks since I've actively started trying to fix that. I've always thought, oh, it's just like a normal thing, but my IT band, my TFL, this whole side of my leg has taken a hit because of my messed up walking. So take account for the way you're walking, do an analysis of just your posture, and alter that accordingly. And so the last thing we're going to talk about is deloads. So I am not too experienced in deload, so I'm not going to touch on this for too long, but I know that if I'm lifting for a while and I'm progressively overloading everybody, I hope you know progressive overload, you know, you're not lifting the same weights for the same year, you're over time getting stronger and lifting heavier weights. Every 4 to 8 weeks, with the weight you're at, either stay there, just stay there for about a week instead of trying to push into a longer one, just stay there, or go back maybe like 1 or 2 pounds and get really good at that. And when what I've been doing, I've just been doing like the weight that I've stayed at. I haven't gone back exactly that, like what I'm saying. I don't know too much about deloads, but when you're training and you're doing progressive overload, there's going to be plateaus, and that's the way you get over the plateaus. You master the weight that you're at, and then by the time you get into a slightly heavier weight, while you might do less reps, the chances of injury is not going to be as high because, you know, you've gotten used to the weight that's slightly lower than it. You can do like 6 to 8 reps with that. So by the time you get to the one that's slightly higher, you can maybe do 4 to 6, and then keep working on that, build up 4 to 8 weeks. So right now for strongman training, with sandbag, I'm doing 75 pounds for load and carry, like walking with it. I can't really do that because I only have a 75, 50, and 100. So I can't go down to like 50 because they're so incremental. Like they're big increments there. So I'm not exactly going to do that. But overall, with your recovery and overall, if you're stressing your body too much with progressive overload, going from weight to weight too quickly, unless you're on some type of like peptide or TRT, regardless, just be careful with that. So that's kind of what I have to say about recovery. I hope you found this helpful. If I'm open to all constructive criticism, I'm just a 17-year-old girl talking about the things that I know and the things that I think could help you with your fitness overall. And I intend to keep talking about this. So if you have any questions or constructive criticism or feedback, I am open to all of it. I am an open book. And yeah, I hope you have a good one.